So the idea going forward is going to be 2 to 3 times a week on a schedule, which is yet to be determined. I'll be live streaming or coding. Yes, live coding over on Twitch, and I'll be posting those streams here on YouTube, along with a recap or summary. And right now I'm just kind of getting the format down and working the bugs out of the system. But I chose an interesting little challenge, which actually turned out to be kind of a bigger challenge than I thought. So feel free to check it out. And if you want to watch the whole live stream or watch and fast forward or whatever you want to do, go for. But here is the short recap of that. All right. So the fun here was overall, I started off with a simple goal, or I thought a simple goal, of scraping the variable names of functions and variables out of a target file. And from the research that I performed, found that I'm only able to target globally scoped variables easily, and also exported variables. So the private variables up here were not able to be accessed. And despite some of the research that I was doing, I came across Rewired was one package that allows you to get into those private variables, but ultimately it just does an eval on those variables. And to do that eval, you have to know the variable name, which is not going to support this as a tool to be used in the future easily. So that kind of sucks. But went down that road, and we decided to refactor the goal away from all variables into just the exported variables. And maybe I should put here accommodate global variables as well, because we do have access to those easily. But I'm going to bow out here in a second, just kind of recapping. Yeah, so here we refactored that, got the semantic tool together to basically scrape and return an array. So we're doing that by requiring the file, which actually loads the file, and that's one of the issues that we're seeing with loading a file that requires like an env and a database connection. It's actually executing all of that code, which maybe the better way to handle this is not to execute the code, but rather go with backup plan 1 and treat this as a string and regex through the file to find the variables. I think that's going to be the next iteration of this, and I will be building that iteration tomorrow night, starting at about midnight, I think. So yeah. So current iteration, it executes that code, uses object.keys to create an array of all of the keys being returned, and then we just pass that to whoever's calling this tool that we've built. Target is just a simple test data target for us. And in here we built some unit tests to go through using Chai, specifically the expect module on Chai. Enhanced it a little bit with assert arrays, Chai's array assertions. First time I've used that, haven't come across that before. Surprisingly, haven't had the need. But we're just using that to verify that the output from our tool was an array, and that it does contain specific elements. It's interesting because I've written this before myself, and it always looks kind of ugly. So it's kind of nice to use a package to handle that for me. But we've identified a few things that we do need to do to enhance the tool further. Make it a command line tool. Accommodate the global variables as mentioned. Also supporting the environmental variables and loading the env file properly. If we go with the backup plan, which is what we're going to do tomorrow night, that's kind of a moot point. So actually I can just delete that off there. We are displaying or returning it, but displaying this will be part of the command line tool. So I will give it a slash right there. So right now it's set up for a specific file. In the future, I would like to target a directory, and it just recursively gets everything out. And the goal here is to be able to point this at another another project and suck out all of the variables down to their semantic names, so that we can intelligently make decisions and evaluate like are good practices are being used in creating those variables. And yeah, so that's what we were working on. Everyone in chat, thanks for hanging out with me and having a little fun. It's my first stream, so thanks for joining me. I'm going to be doing this regularly during the day. Late night chats, I don't know. We'll kind of play around a bit, but I'm going to be trying to be building small little tools here or there 3 times a week, and go from there. Like I said, it's the first stream, so I don't have the final schedule worked out just yet. Gonna see what works out for me best. And yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for joining me. Rather than just dump and run here, I'll go host over to to Serpent AI. It's a guy I was paying attention to a little while ago. He's running some machine learning scripts through how to play Bindings of Isaac, which is kind of cool. So let's try and set that up now, as it's the first time I've ever done this.